हेलो एवरीवन, गुड इवनिंग। कैन यू हियर मी? क्या आपको मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है? एम आई ऑडिबल? आई होप आई एम ऑडिबल. I'm just checking, making sure that the audio is there. Okay, ठीक है, audio is there. Great. All right, great. So let's begin. Let's begin. Today's agenda is of course हम लोग बात करने वाले हैं कि स्टॉक मार्केट्स कैसे काम करते हैं. Alright, so we're gonna talk about the markets today. हम लोग समझेंगे कि मार्केट्स का बेसिक क्या होता है, हाउ टू एक्चुअली एनालाइज द मार्केट्स. क्योंकि हम लोग ने कल बात की थी कि हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ मनी कैन बी. हम लोग ने बात की थी पावर ऑफ कंपाउंडिंग के बारे में. सो वही जो कंपाउंडिंग रहता है, दैट सेम कंपाउंडिंग एस्पेक्ट we need to learn, and we need to understand how we can actually make the most of it. So that will be the agenda for today, and that is what we'll be doing. Again, it's 5:33 right now, so we'll properly start at 5:35 because I understand कि कभी कभी क्या होता है, internet is slow for some people, and as a result it can take a little bit of time. So which is why we'll wait for a bit, but उसके बाद we'll get down to business and we'll start. So in the meanwhile, अगर ऐसे कोई questions है आपके related to what we did last time, then please feel free to ask. Otherwise we can proceed. Okay. Any questions, just please feel free to let me know, and as always chat में active रहना, because if you are active in the chat, then that is what gives me energy, as we discussed. This tea also gives me energy, but the chat is a lot more energizing than this tea. Okay. Right. ओके, इट्स 5:35. आई थिंक हम लोग शुरुआत कर सकते हैं. वी कैन गेट स्टार्टेड. सो आई विल जस्ट शेयर माई स्क्रीन नाउ अगेन, एंड यू कैन लेट मी नो इफ यू कैन सी इट. ओके, ग्रेट. कैन यू सी द स्क्रीन? क्या आपको स्क्रीन दिख रही है? आई होप यू कैन सी इट. प्लीज लेट मी नो. इज द स्क्रीन विजिबल? दैट्स एन ओल्ड थिंग. गिव मी, शो इट टू मी. या, great, the screen is visible. Good. सही है. So today's topic is going to be financial markets 101, and I have this thing that I say. मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ that the markets are the fanciest vegetable markets that we'll ever see. तो लोगों को लगता है कि स्टॉक मार्केट या कमोडिटीज़ या जो होते हैं, any financial market basically is very complex, but I disagree. I feel it is the fanciest vegetable market. Okay, it is fancy, but अंत में तो सब्जी मंडी ही है. So that is what we'll be doing. In case you want to connect with me, these are my contact details. So अगर आपको मैसेज करना है, फॉलो करना है मुझे on social media, then this is where you can reach me. This is my LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, email and website अगर आपको चाहिए तो. Okay, if you want to check it out. Coming to today's agenda, आज का एजेंडा मेन तो रहेगा that how we can see that the financial markets are one of the most interesting and high potential industries, and how we can really make the most of this. Okay, how we can actually analyze it in a much better way, and how we can make meaningful decisions in the financial markets. Okay, that will be the agenda for today. I'm just trying to figure out if I can in some way if I can just try and get my preview going, because preview nikal gaya hai for some reason. Okay, yeah, great, preview is here. ठीक है, चलो, fine. Okay, and learning about them today is also important. Q, we spoke about something called as the power of compounding. So if we want to compound our money, if we want to make our money work for us, तो फिर सीधी बात है हमें अभी सीखना होगा. And as we discussed that there's that Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Okay, with that we'll start. Here's the plan. पहले मैं आपको बताऊंगा why the market is not equal to gambling, because this is what many people think, right? लोगों को लगता है कि अच्छा market है तो gambling होगा. तो we'll talk about how this is not the case. हम लोग बात करेंगे how analyzing the stock market or any other market, crypto हो सकता है, commodities हो सकते हैं, forex हो सकते हैं, how all of that works. And we'll also talk about a few steps to get started. So this is typically a 1.5 to 2 hour webinar, but I will be cutting it short. I'll go a little bit faster because I'm sure many of us already know a little bit. हम लोग ने कल बात की थी MFs और सब के बारे में, and we had a basic idea. So I will keep the pace a little faster. Again, कोई questions है तो please मुझे बता देना. Great, let's start. How it's not gambling. So ये I think सबसे बड़ा एक प्रॉब्लम होता है लोगों को लगता है that if you are a trader, if you are an investor, basically if a huge chunk of your income comes from the market, then you are a gambler. लोगों को लगता है तुम सट्टेबाज हो, but I'll tell you why that is not the case. And the reason is because it is ultimately buying and selling. It is a vegetable market. Vegetable market किस हिसाब से है? Vegetable market है क्योंकि यहाँ पर buy sell होता है, right? Let's say in a vegetable market we buy sell potatoes, onions. In a stock market we are buying and selling shares. No difference. Now अगर आप समझो एक वेजिटेबल ट्रेडर को कहते हो कि अरे भाई तू तो गैम्बलर एक नंबर का जुआरी है, हाउ डू यू थिंक ही इज गोइंग टू रिएक्ट? ही इज गोइंग टू फील ऑफेंडेड. ही इज गोइंग टू से कि तुमको एक तो पता नहीं है, ऊपर से ऐसे क्या आरोप लगा रहे हो तुम लोग. Naturally, that is how many people else feel when they are traders or something and someone says that अरे तू तो गैम्बलर है, because they are not the same. And we'll prove how. Vegetable market में people are buying relatively standardized items with some degree of customization. मतलब roughly it's the same thing. If you buy potato from one vegetable vendor, the second vegetable vendor is going to give you potatoes only. वो आपको सुनहरी आलू नहीं देने वाला. He is not going to give you gold plated potatoes कि आप खा के आपकी लाइफ 10 साल बढ़ जाएगी. Right? Standardized items. Financial markets also. If you are buying shares of Reliance from one person and instead if you buy it from another person, Reliance का share change नहीं होने वाला. If person A is giving you RIL shares and person B is giving you RIL shares, one share is not going to be Mukesh Ambani's company and the other is going to be Anant Ambani's company. They are both going to be RIL only at the end of the day. Lot of options. Several buyers and sellers on both sides. Price determined by demand supply. अगर कल जाके ऐसा कहते हैं, let's say tomorrow comes and rather tonight only, this evening, our India's health minister comes and he says that if you eat 250 grams of potatoes every single day, तो फिर आपकी life expectancy 10 साल से बढ़ जाएगी. If something like this happens, what do you think will happen to the price of potatoes? Potatoes here in Mumbai are around 35 rupees a kilo roughly. नेक्स्ट डे से नेक्स्ट मॉर्निंग से शायद 100 तो मिनिमम टच कर लेगा, बिकॉज देर विल बी एन ओवरवेलमिंग डिमांड. उस डिमांड के वजह से एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द लिमिटेड सप्लाई, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट न्यूज़ and because of the fundamentals of potatoes changing, all of these things will cumulative have an effect on the price. Same way financial markets, right? If we are just going with Reliance, then we can say that okay, maybe if tomorrow Reliance says that उन लोग को let's say ये self driving cars बनाने की है, and they say that they've already been working on it for the past 10 years and they will go to market in the next 2 years. What do you think will happen to the price of Reliance? Right? If it's at 26, if it's at 2500 for example right now, maybe it might go to 2800 just because of that one news. So this is how it would work. It's not gambling. You are just trying to understand क्या है अभी, उसके हिसाब से you will try to understand क्या हो सकता है. And there's a lot more. We'll talk about the other factors also when we understand कि कैसे analysis काम करती है. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm not sure if the chat I have here on the phone is accurate or not, because the chat I have on the phone has 0 replies. But either way, I think we can just get started. One important thing I always say is that don't get intimidated, because it is not difficult. कुछ ऐसा, it's not tricky, it's not complex. It is just new. I'm sure, see, we are all working professionals here, I'm sure. तो आप लोग जब आपके काम में काम करते थे, when you started working as whatever you do, then at that time, let's say you're an engineer, let's say when you had cleared 10th standard, you were given the same work that you do today with ease when you cleared 10th. Do you think you would be comfortable? Or do you think कि आपको लगता है ये क्या हो रहा है, क्या है ये, is this rocket science? But today, if you get the same amount of work, you're like, अरे आज तो एकदम आसान काम है, it is super easy, जल्दी आराम से घर जा पाएंगे. So it is not difficult, it is just new, keep that in mind. Now let's talk about how is it not gambling, because unlike gambling, there is something inherent, there is something that is intrinsically there in markets. What is that intrinsicness? Here, there are fundamentals. Fundamentals are like they are basically the foundation of a company. Financial reports हो गए, हमारे ये हो गए, क्या बोलते हैं, industry analysis हो गई. Basically everything that is material to the financial health and the overall health, the business of the company. Okay, you have news. News can include a lot of things. It can be good news, bad news, either way. So this also impacts. But there is something inherently there. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक सुबह किसी को उठ के ऐसा लगा कि अच्छा ये अच्छा है तो मैं इस पे अंधाधुन बाय करूँगा या सेल करूँगा. There is something inherently there. News will also exist for a reason. So it is there. It is something which is in a way tangible. Psychology. If you are even remotely interested in psychology, then I would say कि read about trading psychology. Read about trading psychology, because अगर आप trading psychology के बारे में जानते हो, if you sit and put in the time and understand how the market psychology works, then you'll understand कि how this is actually not really gambling, but how this is rather all a game of behavior in a way. So वो भी हम समझ सकते हैं इधर. Next we've got indicators. Indicators are basically tools where you analyze and look at price, and price को देख कर you try to understand what is going on. For example, let's say that this is the day and this is the price. I'll use a thinner font here. Day and price. Okay, let's say that on day 1 price was 100, on day 2 price is 102, on day 3 price is 104. नाउ व्हाट डू यू थिंक योर व्यू वुड बी फॉर डे 4? यहाँ पर आप देख रहे हो कि हर दिन +2 हो रहा है. नेचुरली योर बेस्ट एस्टिमेट वुड बी दैट यहाँ पे भी मे बी +2 होगा, राइट. मे बी यूल से कि ठीक है, अगर समझो 104 के ऊपर जाता है, देन मे बी इट इज़ लाइकली दैट इट विल रिपीट व्हाट हैज़ हैपेंड एंड मे बी इट विल गो टू 106. सिमिलरली इफ़ यू फील दैट अगर 104 के नीचे जा रहा है, then maybe it might move towards 102 itself, because that is the trajectory that it has been following. Okay, so this is what indicators try to do, except indicators add a bit of maths and stats also in this. Otherwise they are very similar rather. Okay, so since we are making an informed decision, since हम लोग सोच समझ के कुछ चीज़ कर रहे हैं, हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि कंपनी की हेल्थ कैसी है, हम लोग देख रहे हैं प्राइस क्या कर रहा है, हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि क्या कुछ ऐसे न्यूज़ बेस्ड इवेंट्स है, कुछ ऐसा है कि जो एक नी जर्क रिएक्शन हो सके. सिंस वी आर कंसिडरिंग ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स, वाई वुड इट बी गैम्बलिंग, राइट? वाई वुड इट बी अ शॉट in the dark when we are using all the lights that we have to illuminate the way? ठीक है. I'm not saying that if you make an informed decision, this decision will be correct. An informed decision can be wrong also, but at least the decision has some inherent underlying logic, which is why it is very wrong to say that it is gambling. The risks, the rewards, the potential are already defined, plus there is a good reason for them. It is not just because of it being a zero sum game, which it is not. Okay, longer term time frame setups are not zero sum. People have that misconception कि stock markets or trading, we look at the fundamentals, we look at the price data and all, और हम लोग को लगता है हम सब एटलीस्ट 100 शेयर्स लेंगे, एंड लेट्स से ईच शेयर इज 10 रुपीज़. सो 100 ऑफ अस बाय 10 रुपी शेयर्स ऑफ 100, दैट मेक्स इट व्हाट 100,000 रुपीज़. ठीक है, टोटल हम लोग ने 1 लाख रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट डाला है टोटल, राइट? Let's say that this 10 rupees, because the company is doing good, the company is adding value to its shareholders, प्रॉफिट कर रहा है, कैश फ्लोज अच्छा है, ये कंपनी की डिमांड बढ़ जाती है, द कंपनी इनहेरेंटली बिकम्स मोर वैल्यूएबल, विच इज़ वॉट पुशेज द प्राइस ऑफ द कंपनी टू 15 रुपीज़. तो 15 रुपीज़ में हमने जो लगभग कितना 10,000 जितना डाला था, नहीं, हमने 1,000 रुपया जितना डाला था वो हो जाएगा 1,500. ओके, बट इट इज़ नॉट जस्ट आर मनी दैट इज गोइंग अप, but the entire money that we all had invested, from 1 lakh rupees it became 1,50,000. So we have all won. It is not a zero sum game, it is rather a positive sum game, because everyone can win. And that is the misconception that people have. वो लोग को लगता है कि अगर आप ट्रेड करते हो, इन्वेस्ट करते हो, then you can't really win without someone else losing. But that's not true. It is a positive sum game if you do it right, and if you do it in a methodical way. Now this is actually incomplete. Basically what it means is that you treat it like a business. Okay, it is a business. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप कल सुबह जाओगे, you look at your phone के अंदर these days people use a lot of brokers, right? Paytm है, Zerodha है, then what, there's Grow or something, right? Many brokers are there. Let's say you open your account in one of these and you decide कि ठीक है, मैं कल सुबह let's say मैं टाटा मोटर्स खरीदूंगा. Okay, you aren't doing this. This would be just a shot in the dark. You are sitting, you are putting in the time, you are looking at your computer, you are seeing what to do, you are trying to understand the charts, और उसके बाद you are deciding that okay, let's say I will buy 50 shares. 50 shares खरीदूंगा मैं, 50 shares खरीदूंगा समझो 100 रुपये पे. अगर प्राइस 120 होती है then I will be selling them. So you are basically using that same concept, and basically you are trying to understand it using that. Okay, so that is why it is not gambling. I hope you all have understood this. Again, I'll try to see, and I'll try to check if there are any comments. अगर है तो I will just quickly answer them. अगर नहीं है, we'll move to the other part. Okay. Looks like everyone's out partying on Sunday afternoon. Party timings have changed, looks like. Or everyone's busy having the tea, but that's fine. ठीक है. Power of compounding, we already discussed this same example yesterday, so इस पे ज़्यादा time spend करके मतलब नहीं. If you want to check it out, if you really are curious about the power of compounding, एक काम करो, YouTube पे जाओ. YouTube पे जाके पहले तो सब्सक्राइब कर लो. You can subscribe. It's of course it's completely free of cost, goes without saying, and it helps out a lot. Go to upskilling at Shantigram का playlist, and उसमें जाके you basically look at this 1 hour 13 minute का recording. उसके अंदर towards the end we are talking about the power of compounding, and if you can hear some noise, that's because the cat in our area is also very excited about our sessions. So I'm sure if a cat is excited, we can all be excited, right? Good. So yeah, how do we do that? I mean, we can use stocks for that. और stock market में कैसे analysis काम करती है, we'll talk about that now. Okay, there are two groups of analysis. This is there, instead of explaining this bit by bit, I will just explain ki how both of them work broadly. Okay, how they are sort of two groups of analysis. I'm waiting to see if the chart, yeah, it's visible. Great. Chalo. So analysis can be of two types. Okay, it can be fundamental, or it can be technical. Now generally at this point I ask the audience that आप में से कितने लोग doctors हो, but I'm not sure if many of us will be doctors in this audience. So I will just give you an example. Let's say we are all doctors for today. हम लोग सब doctors हैं, and we see 3 patients today. हम लोग के clinic में 3 patient आते हैं. We think that let's try to work it out in a slightly different way, and what we do is कि पहले patient को हम पूछते हैं कि what exactly are your symptoms. पहले patient को पूछते हैं what are your symptoms. We try to understand their routine, we try to see what they eat, we try to see how they sleep, we try to see कितने टाइम से ये सिम्टम्स है. ये सारी चीज़ मिला के हम लोग सोचते हैं दैट ओके दिस इज़ देयर, दैट इज़ देयर, ये सारी चीज़ हो रही है. मे बी उनको कॉमन कोल्ड है, एज एन एग्जाम्पल. ओके, मे बी उनको कॉमन कोल्ड है. दूसरे पेशेंट आते हैं and they are sitting, they are like, अच्छा I am facing some problems, I feel very weak. So we tell them, okay, no problem, show me your blood reports. We don't ask them their symptoms. We don't sit and ask कि कितना खाते हो, क्या खाते हो, क्यों खाते हो, कब सोते हो. We don't do any of that. We simply ask them for their blood reports. Okay, blood reports पूछते हैं, and we take a look at the hard numbers. Hard numbers देखते हैं. So this is your obviously blood glucose, this, that, all of that we look at. And looking at the blood glucose number, we decide that glucose बहुत high है, blood glucose, and maybe they have diabetes. So we ask them to keep that in mind and monitor accordingly. तीसरे patient आते हैं, and we ask them for the symptoms, and we ask them for the blood work. Okay, we ask them for the symptoms and we ask them for the blood work. ये दो चीज़ करते हैं हम. So now you might be asking कृणाल, you तो said that this is going to be a session on finance. तो ये तू medical क्यों बोल रहा है? Why are you talking about diagnosing things? Don't worry, this is exactly related to finance. How? Because the first patient, we did fundamental analysis on them. Why? We understood the patient. We understood what is going on. We had, in a way, a personal one-to-one relationship with the patient. वी ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि पेशेंट क्या करता है, क्यों करता है, what they eat, how they eat, to understand in a way that what might be wrong or what might be right. Second patient, we didn't bother with that. We said, acha, no problem. I am competent enough to understand just using numbers also. And in this case, in your case, we don't need more than numbers. So just show me the numbers. And we looked at those numbers, we analyzed them, and based on that, we concluded something, right? The third example was a mix of both, fundamental plus technicals, and in today's day and age, it is called something called as techno funda, where you combine the two. Okay. Now this is what it means. But if we break it down further, this is where I'll come back to our slide. If we break it down further, we can understand that what exactly includes what. So when we talk about technical analysis, where we are just looking at numbers and hard facts, we are not sitting and trying to understand the company or the business or anything. In that case, we are looking at price charts, we are looking at indicators, and we are looking at oscillators. Right? These three things are the primary tools that we will be using for technical analysis. Price charts तो सबको पता है क्या होते हैं, right? We've all seen, at least in today, in these days, we've all been exposed to some degree to finance. Because I think after COVID crash happened, everyone and their neighbor wanted to do something in the market. So at this point, everyone has at least seen a price chart. Indicator, maybe you might have seen, maybe not. Basically, if you've seen a chart that looks complicated, then you have probably seen indicators. Now the irony is that if it uses indicators, then it actually aims to make things uncomplicated. And it does work. Indicators are not complicated. You just need to understand how they work. More on that eventually when and if we decide to do indicators. But basically, this is how technical analysis would work. If you want to know more about technical analysis, this is a little off topic. और जानना है, एक काम करो, go to the YouTube channel and you look at practically any video. You see these green and red thumbnails, na? Don't look at data and number driven, because that does not have chart. That is UR's special way of analyzing the markets. This requires practically zero technical insight. He just looks at numbers in a creative way. But बाकी अगर ये कोई red green के जो भी thumbnails है ना, check out any video and you will understand what technicals are. Because that is where I do technical analysis. You will figure out कि ठीक है, ऐसे होता है, ऐसे होता है. Coming to fundamental analysis, this you won't find on the channel at least yet. But fundamental analysis में क्या होता है कि you are trying to figure out company के बारे में. So if company was a person, you want to know everything about them. So company की क्या analysis है, वो industry में क्या क्या चल रहा है, what is the macroeconomic condition, not just of that company but also of the industry. For example, if we talk about ICE engines, internal combustion engines, what do you think are the macroeconomic conditions for ICE engines? Right? Overall, अगर हम देखते हैं, then the macroeconomic conditions and the outlook for the future does not look very confidence inspiring if we are talking into 20-30 years down the line. क्योंकि EVs आने वाले, क्योंकि emissions और सबका काफ़ी सारा झोल होगा, and as a result it does not score well on that part. वैसे you try to understand all these topics, you try to figure out कि ठीक है क्या चल सकता है, क्या नहीं चल सकता, और उसके हिसाब से you try to make a decision that okay, is this company good? Being an Adani Shantigram live stream, I think we can take Adani examples, and we should, because I think that is the most apt in this case. But let's say we analyze a company like Adani Ports, right? We analyze a company like Adani Ports, we see that अच्छा company क्या कर रही है. So we look at the revenue. I'll use a thinner brush for this. We look at the revenue. We look at the profit, the cash flow. Then we move to industry analysis. We see कि main competitors कौन है. Who is trying to compete with Adani Ports? कि उसका लिस्ट बनाते हैं. We see that are they even major? क्या है, मार्केट शेयर है कि नहीं वो लोग का कुछ. ओके, देन वी लुक एट द मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस. मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस माने क्या, इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट का क्या लग रहा है हम लोग को, पोर्ट्स का क्या लग रहा है. वो डू यू थिंक दैट देर इज समथिंग दैट माइट हैम्पर डिमांड और सप्लाई. Do you think that government policies might come in effect, let's say if rates are hiked, which that is the trend right now, if rates are hiked, do you think Adani Ports will, still continue seeing good demand? Try to see all of that. And then finally, future profit outlook. क्या लगता है 10-20 years from now, do you think ports and all will exist? I mean, they probably will. So you try to understand क्या रहेगी demand. Is it forecasted to grow? Is it likely to shrink? And based on that, you make a decision. Now, there are several types of involvement in the stock market. Okay, technical analysis is primarily for short term to medium term. Fundamental analysis is primarily for long term, but technicals can be used for longer term trades as well. अगर आपको समझो 1-2 साल पकड़ना है कुछ, यू कैन यूज टेक्निकल्स आराम से. फंडामेंटल्स यू कांट यूज फॉर इंट्राडे और swing where you are buying right now and you're selling in 2 weeks. Fundamentals won't work for that. Fundamentals need time to actually work. So that is how analysis would work typically. This is what I was talking about. Scalping is from a few seconds to a few minutes. Let's say what's the time right now? It is 18:05. 18:05 हम कुछ खरीदते हैं. 18:06 we've already exited. Scalping. Day trading. Let's say markets are open from 9:15 to 3:30. Let's say we bought something at 9:15. We sell something by 3:30. Intraday. We aren't carrying anything forward. दूसरे दिन तक कुछ नहीं लाना. Those vyaparis are there, right? Those people that sell things. Ideally, what is their main goal? Let's say there's a samosa vendor. That samosa guy wants to sell everything he has on the same day. उसको घर कुछ लेके ही नहीं जाना. He wants to sell everything he has during the same day. That is intraday for him. And in the markets also, it's intraday. Sell everything or buy everything. Whatever is there, खत्म करो दिन के अंदर ही. Swing trading, typically for a few days, few weeks, BTST. BTST means buy today, sell tomorrow. Name suggests वैसा ही है. I'm not going to explain it क्योंकि fairly simple. Positional as long as the trend continues. 6 महीना, 8 महीना, 10 महीना, साल, some cases 1.5-2 साल भी हो सकता है. But ideally it is a few weeks or a few months. I personally classify trading as in a way at least STCG. और अगर STCG नहीं लग रहा then investing है मेरे हिसाब से. So basically anything more than a year I feel it veers into the investing category. Again, that's my definition. अभी people say कि 5-10 years is also short term. I think that is pretty absurd of a statement to make, but each to their own. That's the beauty of the markets. Everyone is wrong, everyone is right. Okay, यहाँ पे this is a quick sort of chart for you to understand कि क्या है, what analysis would you typically be using. So when you're trading, you're primarily using technicals. When you're investing, primarily using fundamentals. I hope this much is clear. No one best method, depends on your risk appetite, goals, etc. Investing is always important. This is what I always say, कि regardless of what your definition of investing is, whether you say 5 months or whether you say 50 years, invest तो करो, क्योंकि invest करोगे then ही, I will recall, in fact it will take a long time to recall, but invest करोगे तो ही आपका कंपाउंडिंग होगा वेल्थ का. दैट इज व्हाट्स मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट. ओके, टेक्निकल एनालिसिस. लेट्स सी इफ वी हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस. अगर नहीं है देन वी कैन proceed. Okay, no questions as of now, no problem. Okay. Pure technical analysis has little to do with what company you choose, what its financials are, what its industry is. Only a few things matter. माने हमें फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि कंपनी क्या करती है. आई डोंट विदाउट साउंडिंग टू रूड, आई डोंट केयर वॉट इट डज. आई जस्ट वॉन्ट टू नो क्या रिजल्ट है. Okay, so let's say that there are three companies, A, B, and C. A, B, and C. A is a car company, B is a tech company, C is an FMCG company. यहाँ पे fundamentals डाले हैं. Let's say that A is weak. Let's say B is medium, and let's say C is very strong. And these are all details. इफ़ आई एम अ टेक्निकल एनालिस्ट, मैं बोलूँगा ये क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन दे दी मेरे को, इससे मैं क्या करूँगा. आई डोंट वॉन्ट टू नो वॉट दे डू. आई डोंट वॉन्ट टू नो वेदर दे आर वीक, मीडियम और स्ट्रॉन्ग. मेरे को सिर्फ जानना है. आई जस्ट वॉन्ट टू नो what their price is looking like. If price is going up, then I'm interested. If price is not going up, then why would I want to buy it? So technical analysis is very simplistic in its thought process. Now, people say that price is not a true reflection, but at the end of the day, आप trade तो price ही करने वाले हो, खरीदोगे price के हिसाब से. So especially if you are trading, it's very important. So chart patterns matter. Prices and chart patterns are the same, by the way. Indicators matter क्योंकि indicators will help you understand the price better. And in some markets, volumes matter. Volumes matter मतलब you want to see how many people are buying. For example, let's say कल जाके हम लोग इंस्पायर हो जाते हैं ये आज के लाइव स्ट्रीम से, हम सब जाके अदानी पोर्ट्स बाय करते हैं. ओके, this is just an example, by the way. Please don't take it as financial advice. Neither you are nor me are SEBI registered. This is for edu and info purposes only. But let's say Monday जाके हम सब अदानी पोर्ट्स खरीदते हैं and we decide कि heavy quantity खरीदेंगे. खरीद के हम लोग 1 लाख का खरीदते हैं. ओके, एंड सेम मंडे कोइंसिडेंटली गौतम अदानी ऑल्सो डिसाइड्स कि चलो अभी शेयर्स खरीदने का टाइम आ गया. एक काम करना भाई, खरीदना. तू कितना खरीदू? खरीद 10-15 करोड़ तो खरीदना बनता है ना. 10-15 करोड़ के सिवा और क्या होगा मेरा. सो हम लोग खरीद के कितना 1 लाख खरीदेंगे. व्हेन ही बाइज ही विल बाय 10-15 करोड़, राइट. सो दिस इज वॉल्यूम का डिफरेंस. इफ वी सी दैट समवन इज बाइंग दिस मच, नेचुरली इट मीन्स कि कुछ ना कुछ है. दाल में कुछ काला है या काले में कुछ दाल है. समथिंग इज देयर. And as a result, we will pay more attention to that. That is what I mean by volume. It is a very iffy study at best. It does not always work, but it's definitely something that people consider, which is why it's here. Okay, several charts exist. This is a point and figure chart, Kagi chart. See, to be honest, it's irrelevant for you if you are not trading, because I personally have never used these, right? These are not really used that much. Even by traders, they are not really used. This is just for, GK for you. कि अगर कोई समझो ऑफिस में पूछता है अरे कागी चार्ट पता है क्या क्या होता है, यू कैन बी लाइक हाँ कागी इज अ टाइप ऑफ चार्ट, टेक्निकल एनालिसिस ये वो. सो इट इज़ प्योरली फॉर GK फॉर यू. रेंको चार्ट्स ऑल्सो एग्जिस्ट. दे लुक वेरी सिंपल. आपको लगेगा कि अरे है वाओ, ग्रीन है तो बाय करो, रेड है तो सेल करो. बट कहाँ ग्रीन बनाना है, कहाँ रेड बनाना है, उस पर ही आता है. So these are all different types of charts, right? Various types of charts. What we end up using are candlesticks. This is what candlesticks are. This is what they look like. We are a little short on time, and let's be honest, everyone here is not going to sit and trade, which is why I'm not explaining what candlesticks are. अगर candlesticks क्या है समझने हैं, you go to the playlists. Playlist में जाओ और हमने बेसिक्स का प्लेलिस्ट वो दिन शेयर किया था. लुक एट दैट प्लेलिस्ट एंड लुक एट आई थिंक वीडियो 2 or 3 हैज़ कैंडल स्टिक्स. या वीडियो 2 has candlesticks, and if that is still not clear, look at the other videos. You will understand candlesticks, and this is what they look like. Okay, this is a bearish candle. Bearish means down, bullish means up. Okay, bullish bearish समझने का best way that I like is, let's say I stay in Mumbai, right? We stay in Mumbai. So Mumbai is known for what? Mumbai किसके लिए known है? I mean, the chat is fairly dead, so I'm not going to wait for a reply. But Mumbai is fairly known for its बारिश. Okay, बारिश क्या करती है? बारिश गिरती है, right? बारिश does not go up like a fountain; it falls from the rain, from the clouds, right? From the sky. So बारिश में, if we just change one A to an E, we can see bearish, and bearish is falling. So you can say bearish is falling, and when obviously if something is falling and it's called bearish, and if the only other word is bullish, then that means bullish has to be up. So this is what bullish and bearish mean. Okay, अगर आपको additional knowledge चाहिए था तो here it goes. This is what candlesticks look like. Again, I will do one thing. I'll show you a chart just so you get a practical view कि अच्छा ऐसा दिखता है chart, ये है वो है. Okay, all of these fancy things that you see, feel free to ignore. You don't need to know them unless you are actually sitting and analyzing the market. ठीक है, this is what candlesticks will look like. This is a white and black candle. You can change colors आराम से. No one is forcing you to use this, which is why actually many people think that, let's say I'll do this. For example's sake, I will change it to green and red. See, I changed the color. Color is irrelevant. What matters is what it indicates. So यहाँ पे green candle is going up, red candle is going down. Candle क्या कहता है, that is there here. So when if you're really curious, pause करो ये screen को and you can figure out what it means. And if you want, you can also schedule a call. If you want to schedule a call with UR, previous video has the link. Maybe we'll share it in this video as well. If you want to know about algo and quant, आपको जानना है algo trading क्या होता है. I have an interview. I know you might be thinking ये भाई हर दूसरे sentence में channel plug कर रहे हैं उसकी. But I've got more than 500 videos. I'm bound to cover a bunch of things, which is why I have a lot of things on the YouTube channel. And this is what, around an hour long. Yeah, it's an hour long podcast episode. सुनना है तो यहाँ पे सुन सकते हो, or you can go on my podcast which has the same name, Stock Markets with Care. You can listen on Spotify or whichever other platform you want, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, all of those platforms has it. So check out this one if you want to know about algo trading. It's not as fancy as it sounds. It's actually very normal, as are most things. Okay, so to summarize, technical analysis is used by traders, meant for short-term trades. Price charts are in focus. No need to learn about the company or sector. जानना ही नहीं है कंपनी क्या कर रही है, प्राइस से मतलब है सिर्फ. Okay, fundamental analysis used by investors, long holding periods. You need to know a bunch of stuff about the company. You need to understand what the company does, and the entire premise is to learn everything about the company. Okay, you need to be married to a company in a way. उतनी हद का वो लोग analysis करते हैं. If a technical analyst is putting in, let's say, an hour behind a company, hour is also too big of a number. 1 घंटा डाल दिया. A fundamental guy might put in 2-3 months sitting, reading all reports, news, everything, because that is the depth that they typically go into. Now, वही sentence से I'm sure you understood. Since I said they, naturally I might be a part of the technical analysis guy ka team. So yes, that's true, which is why I showed the technical analysis videos as well. Since we are primarily traders, swing, positional, intraday, we are typically more well versed with technicals. That said, there's nothing wrong in fundamentals. You need to at least know कि क्या कर रही है कंपनी. Fundamentals नहीं समझोगे तो just technicals will also not help. सिर्फ फंडा समझोगे तो technicals भी आपको जानने अच्छे हैं, because they help you in timing. So there is a codependency of sorts which you need to keep in mind. Okay. Now here are a few actionable steps. See, we've got around 3-4 minutes left before it's 18:20. 18:20, UR will just come and just talk about a few things. In the meantime, हम लोग बात कर लेते हैं कि क्या क्या चीज़ होती है यहाँ पे. What do you need to trade and invest? Now, firstly, of course, you need a bank account and all. These days, it's never been easier to trade with a broker. Like literally Paytm and all are also having shares accounts and all. Now whether you go with Paytm or not is your call. I don't endorse the platform at all, but I'm just saying itna easy ho gaya hai. We have accounts in most of these brokers that you see here on the screen. It's not really important which broker you choose as long as they are giving you good rates. Most of these new ones do, so utna problem nahi hai. Some info on the brokers, you just need to choose them based on the brokerage cost, the reliability, the platform, the service, and the reporting. Now, reporting is at this stage standard for most. उस ज़माने में नहीं था. When I say उस ज़माना, I mean just a few years back. Now things are getting better. Ideally, just choose them based on the brokerage and reliability. बाकी सारी चीज़ at this stage has become standard. I mean, people can't afford to fall short on service delivery at this stage. Brokerage, I don't need to tell you, transaction costs can kill your gains. 500 रुपया अर्न कर रहे हो और उस पर अगर 300 रुपया ब्रोकरेज है तो 200 रुपीज़ यू आर गेटिंग. उसमें से ऑल्सो गवर्नमेंट. ओके, यू कैन चेक आउट दिस वीडियो. ये वीडियो आई कांट शेयर, नो प्रॉब्लम. प्लेलिस्ट्स में जाओगे, सी अगेन आई एम शोइंग यू समथिंग ऑन द प्लेलिस्ट. यू दैट जस्ट गोज टू शो हाउ मच कंटेंट वी हैव ऑन द चैनल. लाइव स्ट्रीम्स का है, लाइव स्ट्रीम्स में देख सकते हो, और लाइव ट्रेडिंग का है, लाइव ट्रेडिंग में देख सकते हो. सो यू कैन चेक आउट दीज स्ट्रीम्स एंड यू विल गेट अ गुड आइडिया ऑफ हाउ टू एक्चुअली प्लेस ट्रेड्स एंड हाउ ऑल ऑफ दैट इज डन. ओके, principles of the markets. Why can't I go? Yeah, these are some principles. You can check it out. It's just very self-explanatory. Disciplined रहना है, research करना है, confident रहना है research पे. We don't have to have a success percentage of 100%. See, don't focus on being 100% right. No one is, right? The world's best leader in any space is not going to be correct all the time. But the beauty is that you don't need to be correct to make money. You just need to know how to make money. So पैसे पे focus करो, सही होने पे नहीं. Have realistic expectations. Don't think that you are motivated by this session. कल ट्रेडिंग स्टार्ट करोगे, इन्वेस्टिंग स्टार्ट करोगे, 2 हफ्ते में फरारी की डीलरशिप में जाके विल बी लाइक गिव मी योर मोस्ट एक्सपेंसिव कार. That's not how it works. It takes a lot of time and still you need to have realistic expectations and there will be setbacks, as is the case with everything in life. Okay, take calculated risks. So I have this desktop wallpaper of mine that says that leap and the net will appear. Okay, it says leap and the net will appear, which means that if you want to actually fly, पहले आपको leap करना पड़ेगा, and then don't worry about your safety net, क्योंकि कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा. Okay, so take calculated risks, and if that risk does end up being wrong, so if you do end up incurring a loss, that's fine, accept it gracefully, part of business. Let's take the example of a restaurant. Restaurant is not going to make money every day. They are not going to sell everything that they have. Let's say we go to some place and we decide that okay, we will let's say that restaurant has 15 pizzas, okay, that they have made. 15 पिज्ज़ा में से समझो हम सब गए, अच्छे से खाया, हम लोग ने 13 पिज्ज़ा खाए. Okay, now let's assume that each pizza costs them 500 rupees to make, some fancy pizza, and they sell each pizza for 1000 rupees. 13,000 रुपया हम लोग ने उनको दिया है. Okay, what's their profit? 6,500 out of that. But 2 pizzas went to waste. 2 pizza waste हो गया unfortunately. The restaurant manager is not going to sit in a corner and cry कि अरे यार 2 पिज़्ज़ा वेस्ट हो गया, क्या करूँ मैं उसका. No, he's already earned 6,500 profit. उसमें से क्या 1000 माइनस करेगा, स्टिल 5,500 का तो उसका क्लीन प्रॉफिट हुआ है. सो डोंट फोकस ऑन मेकिंग लॉसेज. ऐसा मत सोचो कि यार बहुत दुनिया खत्म हो गई. जस्ट फोकस ऑन द प्रोसेस एंड अंडरस्टैंड कि ठीक है, लॉस हुआ, प्रॉफिट भी होगा, एंड दैट इज हाउ यू एंड अप बीइंग नेट पॉजिटिव. Don't be blindfolded by greed. And that brings me to the most important thing, which जिसका teaser already आ गया है, and that is that you take action. Because unless and until you take action, कुछ और नहीं होने वाला. you know knowledge is not power, application of that knowledge is power. So take some action, उसी से आगे बढ़ पाएंगे हम सब. And yeah, that's about it. So quickly UR will just come and give the sort of closing remarks, and in the meanwhile, if anyone's watching, please feel free to ask any questions if you may have. Yes, I believe we do have a few people that were there at least. Sometimes YouTube's platform is very sluggish with reporting these numbers. So yeah, let me know.
Hello, good evening, friends. How are you? Hope you had a good session and KR was able to give you good knowledge. वो बहुत ही अच्छा ट्रेनर है. मैं इसलिए नहीं बोलता हूँ कि मेरा बेटा है, बट ही हैज़ बीन रिसीविंग लॉट ऑफ pats on his back, and that is why we chose that today's session is conducted by him. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Atul, again for arranging for this particular group to be set up, upskilling at Shantigram, and I'm sure that this will be of help to all in different areas, not only in the areas that we represent. Obviously, जिंदगी में सीखना तो सबको है, and every day is a learning day for all of us, and that is what I have realized in life, that one needs to keep learning in all the areas and walks of life. So Krunal has already summed up whatever we wanted to share over this last two webinars, and there are plenty of things to share, plenty of things to discuss with you all, provided you are interested in learning about these. See what we can, and let me also be very frank and open that sometimes people may think कि अरे भाई ये सब फ्री में बोल रहा है तो उसके पीछे उसका क्या मतलब है. मतलब कुछ नहीं है. अगर फ्री में बोलना है तो कुछ मतलब नहीं होता है. We are giving this free of cost because that is what I have learned from my trainers also, and that is what I have spent lakhs of rupees in getting trained in this technical analysis, and my trainers are community by way of YouTube videos. हमने सही में मूव करना होता था तो we would have gone for a walk and not sat on the walked on the treadmill, because treadmill जहाँ पे खड़े रह के हम जॉगिंग भी कर सकते हैं, वॉक भी कर सकते हैं, वहाँ पे क्या होगा, अल्टीमेटली वी विल बी स्टैंडिंग देयर ओनली. So even after watching this webinar, if you do not take any concrete action, especially in relation to those things which were mentioned yesterday, savings जैसे कि FD है, PPF है, VPF है, NPS है, सॉरी अबाउट दैट. तो इनके बारे में अगर आप कुछ एक्शन ही नहीं लोगे, स्टॉक मार्केट क्या है वो आप जानोगे ही नहीं, म्यूचुअल फंड क्या है आप जानोगे ही नहीं, तो यू विल नॉट रियली बी डूइंग जस्टिस टू योर सेल्फ एंड योर लव्ड वंस, बिकॉज that is the only way you will be able to make money. And we have got lot of good ideas, lot of thoughts. We in fact there is another couple of webinars that I have thought of, and those one of them relates to it's a small it's about an hour or so presentation on life transformation that we teach. And another thing is that we have some interviews lined up, and if you people are interested in knowing how ordinary people have actually become, you know, good at stock market. We can arrange for those interviews as well, but provided आपको उसमें interest है तो we are also keen to come to Shantigram and interact with you in person over a couple of days via a workshop or so, provided you are interested. And because ultimately action आपको लेना है, हमें आपको सीखने और सिखाने में मज़ा आएगा, और एक्शन आपको लेना है और आपको हमें बताना है. सो प्लीज़, इन केस यू आर वाचिंग दिस वीडियो, यू नो, इन नॉट इन लाइव बट belatedly, you can comment on the, you know, in the group itself, and let us know whatever you think about these 2 days presentation that we made. And thank you all for being with us over these 2 webinars, and it was our pleasure, and we really enjoyed being with you. Thank you.